Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. It is now week 11 in the NFL, so we're back with my weekly NFL predictions. If you enjoy the content, make sure you do like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. With that being said, let's get to my week 11 picks. So, as always, we start with the previous week recap. So, we have the Ravens beat the Bengals. That was a tremendous game. Still think the Bengals should have won. Panthers beat the Giants in overtime. That game was kind of dull in my opinion. Patriots beat the Bears. Bears definitely came back down to earth. The Bills beat the Colts. Chiefs beat the Broncos. I still think the Broncos should have won that game, regardless of the field goal, but it is what it is. The Saints beat the Falcons with their interim head coach, so good on them. 49ers beat the Buccaneers. Steelers beat the Commanders. Also a really good game. That was just very bonehead mistake on the on the Commanders, in my opinion. The Vikings beat the Jaguars in probably the worst game of the week last week. The Chargers beat the Titans. Eagles beat the Cowboys. Cowboys are definitely done, in my opinion. Cardinals beat the Jets. Jets look done, in my opinion, as well. The Lions beat the Texans. That was a game-winning field goal for them, so super exciting and good. And the Dolphins beat the Rams, bringing them also back down to earth. So 10-4 on the week last week, so not too bad. And our record through week 10 is 94-57. So far so good. And now we're going to do something a little bit different that I haven't done in previous years. So we are going to have a look at the playoff picture for each conference. And we can just take a look at the teams and see where everybody's at. So as of right now, nobody is eliminated. The teams that are still in the hunt are the Colts, and it's in order. So just like you're reading a like normal North America, I suppose. So it's the Colts, the Bengals, the Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, Browns, Titans, Raiders, and Jaguars in that order. And looking at the actual playoffs picture, we have the Chiefs at the 1 seed, Bills at the 2 seed, Steelers at the 3 seed, the Houston Texans at the 4 seed, the Ravens at the 5 seed, the Chargers at the 6 seed, and the Denver Broncos at the 7 seed. So I expect a lot of this to change. I really would like to see the Bengals sneak in, get that 7 seed, and if the Bills can win out and the Chiefs can falter against the Bills and at least one more time, I would love to see the Chiefs and the Bengals play in the first round. So hopefully we get to see something like that. And now moving over to the NFC, we have the teams still in the hunt. Also, nobody eliminated yet. The Giants are very close mathematically to being eliminated, but not quite yet. So we have the 49ers, the Bears, the Rams, my Seahawks, the Buccaneers, Cowboys, Saints, Panthers, and Giants. And looking at the actual playoff picture, we have the 1 seed being the Lions, 2 seed being the Eagles, 3 seed being the Falcons, 4 seed being the Cardinals, the 5 seed being the Vikings, 6 seed being the Packers, and the 7 seed being the Commanders. So I expect this to shake up a lot. We're going to find out a lot of what these teams are made of, because a lot of these teams will be playing each other in the next few weeks. So definitely very exciting. Now moving over to my weekly NFL power ranking. So coming in at number 5, we had a tie last week. I'm bringing the tie back this week. So we have the Eagles and the Ravens. I really like what both of these teams do. They definitely feel like the two really good teams. Are they on par with each other? Probably not, but I really like what the Eagles are doing right now. I think their offense is super dynamic, and I think their defense is starting to put it together, which was really exciting for them. As for the Ravens, I really like their offense, but their defense just leaves a little bit to be desired. But I think their offense can score enough points where they can, let their defense by a little bit. Coming in at number 4, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really like what this Steelers team is doing. They really rally behind Russ, and they believe in Russ, and I really like that for this team. So I hope they continue. Their defense let up more points than I would like last week, but I think Jaden Daniels and the Commanders are just better than most of the opponents that they've been playing. So the Steelers still have 6 divisional games left on their schedule in the next, I think it's 8 weeks. So we'll see what they got. Number 3, I got the Bills. I think Josh Allen wills this team to win, regardless of their defense, regardless of very little on their run game sometimes. I really like this Bills team, but I'm not sure if Josh Allen can carry them every single week. Number 2, I have the Chiefs. What can you say about the Chiefs, man? They find ways to win. If their offense is bad, their defense is good. If their defense is bad, their offense is good. And their special teams has just been pretty consistent, in my opinion. So it is what it is. And number 1, I have the Lions. I think they kind of got a little bit of a scare last week. So I do expect them to revert back to what they are. Which is a very dominant team. I think Jared Goff just needs to relax. But I think we might be seeing, if you stop the run game for the Lions and make Jared Goff have to make those plays, that's a little scary for them. So we'll see what they got. And now the 4 teams that are on byes this week are the Carolina Panthers, the New York Giants, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right, now we're starting with Thursday Night Football. We have the Washington Commanders at the Philadelphia Eagles. So for the Commanders, I think they're just kind of asking a little bit too much of Jaden Daniels right now. He's still a rookie, but I think asking him to have to carry them in all facets of the offensive game is just not a recipe for success yet. But we'll see. I like what Jaden Daniels is doing. Hopefully this team can continue. I hope they make the playoffs and make a good run in there. So I like what this team's doing a lot. For Austin Eckler, I think he just needs more carries. I think he is the running back that this team needs. And I know they've had lots of injuries just across the board for this team. So, yeah, I think Austin Eckler just needs more carries so they can kind of take some pressure off of Jaden Daniels. And I think it was either last year or the year before, I was kind of just not very high on this Commanders team, and I just wasn't seeing it from Terry McLaurin. But man, I like what I'm seeing now, and he might be a top 5 wide receiver. So I can definitely admit when I'm wrong, and I think I was wrong about Terry McLaurin. So yeah, I really like what he's doing, and I think he's a true number 1 for Jaden Daniels for hopefully the foreseeable future. As for the Eagles, I think it was a defensive clinic last week. They definitely need their defense to show up like that every single week, especially when their offense and Saquon are very calm. I don't think they had many extremely breakout plays, in my opinion, apart from a couple with A.J. Brown. But yeah, I think if this defense can play like they did last week, I think this team is going to be very, very difficult to beat. And I think they're getting healthier every single week. I just really like this team. I think the Eagles have a good shot to be in the NFC Championship game. That's kind of where my head is at the moment. For the winner of this, I got the Eagles. I got the Eagles 28, Commanders 24. I know that I think the Commanders are going to be on a little bit of a losing streak after this week. I just like what the Eagles are doing defensively, and I expect them to scare the rookie quarterback. Moving over to our early window games on Sunday, we have the Green Bay Packers at the Chicago Bears. So for the Packers, they're fresh off a bye. You know how I feel about that. I genuinely think it's, especially for a lot of these good teams, they definitely need the bye, and it really helps them to push for the rest of the season. So I like what they're doing. Or I like that for them. So for Jordan Love, I think he just needs to take care of the football. He's a little too willy-nilly. He has a little bit of Brett Favre in him where he's kind of just throwing the ball to the other team quite often. So I think if he can just take care of the football, I think this team's going to be very, very good, especially come playoffs. I think they need to rely on Josh Jacobs more. I think he gets a decent amount of carries, but I think they need to get him involved more in the pass game and just kind of rely more on Josh Jacobs just so Jordan Love gets that pressure off of him a little bit more. As for the Bears, they fired their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron. He was the OC in Seattle last year, and it just was not working. He just was not working well for us. I don't think he's awful, but it just was not working for them in Chicago either. He's just not the answer. I'm not saying can't be the answer for a team, but he's just not the answer for the 2 teams that he's been a part of so far. And for Caleb just needs to throw the ball away sometimes, man. I know he's a rookie, and it can be a little difficult, but I think this team needs to get a new quarterback coach that can help mold Caleb into what a franchise quarterback needs to be. So I'm hoping that can happen. Because I'm not down on Caleb quite yet. I know there's been lots of talk about the locker room issues and how they want to bench him, but I don't think that's time. I don't think you stifle Caleb's growth in hopes of salvaging this season. So yeah, I say stick it with Caleb. He just needs to learn to throw the ball away and learn a couple more things as a franchise quarterback. As for the offensive line, they are bottom 5 in the league, and wow, they are awful. There's a reason the run game does not work for this team, and there's a reason that Caleb is probably the most sacked quarterback, and he's kind of just sitting in the pocket, just patting the ball, and he just gets sacked. So they definitely need to invest on the offensive line for this team. I do have the Packers winning this game. I got the Packers 28, Bears 15. I expect the Packers defense to have a clinic on the Bears, in my opinion. So definitely got the Packers in this one. Our next game is the Jacksonville Jaguars at the Detroit Lions. So for the Jaguars, the fact that Doug Peterson has a job today is a little wild to me. I definitely expected them to fire him by now. If not last week, definitely this week. They score 7 points. I know it was with Mac Jones as their quarterback, but still, I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel for this team. And yeah, I'm just really down on this team. Maybe they're gonna just finish the year with him and then let him go during the offseason, but I don't know. Yeah, just Doug Peterson. I just don't think he's the answer for this team anymore. I think their offense is so stagnant, and I think it's ass. Genuinely, I don't like their offensive scheme whatsoever. They just don't do anything creative. It doesn't look like they have fun, and that's kind of a huge component for me, especially on offense and definitely on defense as well. So yeah, I don't know what this team does well. And I genuinely think this team was supposed to be good by now. Like they had a lot of great pieces. They should be putting it together and at least making playoffs, competing for their division every year, but they're just not doing that. And it's really disappointing for the fans of this team. And I just don't think the Jaguars are anywhere close to where they should be by now. As for the Lions, Jared Goff played horrible, but hey man, a dub is a dub. So you kind of got to just watch the film and do better. 5 interceptions is insane and still winning. So kudos to the Lions. They definitely pulled it together. I think Houston more so lost the game more than the Lions won the game, but Jared Goff needs to take care of the football, man. He especially if the run game gets stopped like they did last week, Jared Goff needs to take care of the football. Yeah, but I think if you stop the run game for this team, they look pretty mortal. They look beatable, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think their offensive line needs to play better. They just need to get Jared Goff a little bit more time. He is definitely that quarterback that sits in the pocket, pats the ball, and either needs to take his checkdowns or just have some pressure off of him. So we'll see. We'll see what the Lions can do. I definitely have the Lions in this one. I expect the Lions to get back to their winning ways by winning by 40, or excuse me, winning while scoring 40. So I got the Lions 40, Jaguars 20. I don't expect this game to be very close. Our next game is the Minnesota Vikings at the Tennessee Titans. So for the Vikings, so I think Sam Darnold, he showed why he's a backup with his performance last week. He just throws the ball to the other team. He's not able to elevate this team like a franchise quarterback should, in my opinion. So, and I'm not saying he can't become that, but just the evidence that we've seen so far and just the things that I have seen from Sam Darnold, I just don't expect him to be the long-term solution here. I think when they get their rookie quarterback back, I think this team is definitely going to be rolling with him. As for Aaron Jones, I think they just need him to be healthy. He's questionable coming into this week, but I think Aaron Jones, he definitely helps this offense quite a bit. So I think I really hope he is able to come back this week and play well for this team. I think the defense kept them in the game last week. Holding I think it was the Jaguars to 7 points last week was tremendous for them. I really like that, but their offense needs to score more points. Scoring 4 field goals is not a recipe for success when you're going to have to play the Packers and the Lions for a couple more times. So definitely need to figure it out. As for the Titans, I think it was a rare, decent Will Levis game last week, but most of it was in garbage time. He just wasn't making the mistakes to throw the game, in my opinion. So, yeah, I still don't think Will Levis is the answer. I don't think Mason Rudolph is the answer. I don't know what this team is doing properly. I think they have very little run game. I don't see what this team does well offensively. They have some decent pieces in my opinion, but nothing too substantial. And I don't understand why they fired Mike Vrabel just to be this ass. Like, are they throwing for a draft pick? I genuinely don't understand. So I don't understand why they fired him, but it is what it is. I definitely got the Vikings in this one. I got the Vikings 31, Titans 17. I expect it to be close for a while, but I expect the Vikings to pull away in this one. Our next game is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Miami Dolphins. Kind of a snoozer game this week. So for the Raiders, they are fresh off of a bye, as fresh as you can be. I think they are in full tank for Shador at this point. I genuinely think this team has given up. They don't seem good. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel for this team, not this year at least. I genuinely think they should have started just trading pieces like Max Crosby and a couple other guys just so they can stack up those draft picks so they can fully rebuild, because this team is not good right now. As for the Dolphins, I think their defense was super hungry last week. I really like what their defensive line was doing. They were just super disruptive. They were just getting Matt Stafford off his spot. So I think their defense needs to play like that every single week. And I think they have so many good to great skill players on offense. They need to use them. They need to utilize them. So continue to do so. Their offensive scheme should be getting all of their playmakers involved. Tyreek Hill, Odell, Devon Achane, what's his name? Jalen Waddle, all of them. Get them involved as much as you can, because you have tremendous skill players, Miami. Get them involved. I think they just need more from the O-line and Devon Achane. I know Devon Achane kind of struggled last week, and I think that's just because the O-line was not holding up enough for him to be able to run. But I think the Rams' defensive line is decent enough where they were stopping him. So I just need them to improve. But I definitely got the Dolphins in this game. I got the Dolphins 30, Raiders 15. I might be off on this game. I think the Raiders might have a shot, but I'm definitely leaning the Dolphins as of right now. Our next game is the LA Rams at the New England Patriots. So for the Rams, like I said a little earlier, the O-line was just awful. I think they definitely need to step it back up and protect Matt Stafford, because he needs more time, because when he doesn't have time, he's a gunslinger. So he's just throwing the ball and it's going to get picked pretty often, in my opinion. And I don't know. I just don't think Kyren Williams is the answer. I'm not sure if there's a backup on their team or anybody else that they can pick up that's a free agent, but I just don't think Kyren Williams is the answer, in my opinion. He might be a serviceable backup, but I just don't see it right now. I think they just need to stop settling for field goals. Their offensive scheme is ass. I expect more from this team. You have so many great pieces on offense. I expect more. I expect you guys to be scoring points, not 5 field goals like it was last week. As for the Patriots, I need their defense to play like they did last week, every single week. Their defense was super good. They got Caleb Williams off his spot quite often. I really like what I saw from this defense. Do I think it's sustainable? I'm not sure yet. So we'll see this week. I think they need a balanced offense to be successful for this team. If Ramondre Stevenson, sorry, I'm talking fast, so I'm slurring my words. If Ramondre Stevenson can play well, I think this team can be very good. It can definitely get Drake May pressure off of him, so this team can be successful. But they need that balanced attack. I think the number one thing this offseason, besides getting an O-line, they need to find Drake a number one wide receiver. Whether it's through the draft or they pick up a guy, they need to get him a number one wide receiver. I got the Rams winning this game. I got the Rams 27, Patriots 20. This one could go either way, in my opinion, but as of right now, I'm leaning the Rams. Our next game is the Cleveland Browns at the New Orleans Saints. So for the Browns, they are fresh off a bye. I think Jameis, he just needs to take care of the freaking football, man. He is just throwing the ball like he was when he was in Tampa. Sometimes you don't need to make the superhero play, Jameis. So just take your checkdowns. If you need to run the ball, I would love to see if he's still got any wheels left. So take care of the football, Jameis. I think Nick Chubb is still hampered by that injury. I'm not saying he's still injured, but the injury is still not 100%. He's not 100%. I'm not sure if he'll ever be 100%, but as of right now, yeah, they need Nick Chubb to be good for this team to be successful. So for the New Orleans Saints, I think they got This team is very weird. They're super hot for one quarter a game, and then the other three they don't score any points, or they score like one field goal, and that's exactly what happened this week. The second quarter they scored 17 points, and then they kicked one field goal, and their defense was able to get them the dub. So I don't know. I don't like what this team does. I'm not sure how sustainable it is, but they won for their interim head coach last week, so maybe they were able to do so again this week. They just need more out of Kamara. They re-signed him, which I'm not sure if it was the best move, in my opinion. Not a move I would have made if I was GM of this team. But I just think they need more out of Kamara. They're paying him to be their starting running back. He needs to do more. I think it was very little to no Derek Carr mistakes last week, which I like. I think if Derek Carr can just take care of the football, he's not getting pressured. He was sacked 0 times last week. I think this team can be kind of decent, as decent as a 3-7 team can be. I'm leaning the Browns in this one. This one's definitely a toss-up for me. But I'm leaning Browns. So Browns 27, Saints 24. Our next game is the Indianapolis Colts at the New York Jets. So Colts, I hate what they're doing. Joe Flacco's not the answer. I'm not sure if you guys need to hear that from anybody else, but Joe Flacco's not the answer. Go back to Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson, for the love of God. I don't understand how you think Joe Flacco and his 3 turnover a game ass is the answer. I don't expect this team to win very many games, just because I don't think they're getting quality play out of their quarterback position. Go back to Anthony Richardson. You drafted him so high. Like, genuinely, I don't understand what is happening. So yeah, I think I just hate what this team's doing, honestly. And it just doesn't make a single lick of sense for me. Jonathan Taylor, I think he runs for 110 yards and they still lose. I just don't think their defense is very good. I don't think their offense is great, especially without Anthony Richardson. I'm not saying Joe Flacco isn't a serviceable backup. I think he is a serviceable backup, but he's not the long-term solution. And you are stifling, you are holding back your potential franchise quarterback by not starting him. So I think his confidence has taken a shot. And then at the trade deadline, you guys wouldn't trade him. You weren't even entertaining phone calls about him. I just don't understand what this Colts team is doing. I think they're throwing, but they're just terrible. It's a terrible mistake, terrible decision making for this team, and I hate it. I hate what the Colts are doing right now. As for the Jets, I genuinely think Aaron Rodgers needs to retire. I think he's washed. I genuinely think so. I'm not saying they're getting quality offensive line play often enough for this team to be good. I just don't think Aaron Rodgers is doing anything substantial for this team to win. And I don't think they're getting anything out of the run game. I just don't think they are getting it. Excuse me. I don't think they're getting anything out of the offense at all. And I think their defense has regressed so much that, in my opinion, they should give Robert Saleh a call back and say, hey, we're so sorry. Let's double the money. Double your money, and please come back and save this defense. This team is just horrible to watch sometimes. I hate watching this team just because they don't do anything well, and the things that they used to do well, they don't anymore because Robert Saleh's not there anymore. I hate it. I genuinely hate it. And you know what's the weirdest part? So Robert Saleh is a defensive-minded head coach, and you fire him for what? Like, I just don't understand what the reason was. He wasn't doing anything on offense, and I think it's just because Aaron Rodgers didn't want him there, and I genuinely believe that. So I really hate both of these teams right now. I guess I got the Colts. I got the Colts 28, Jets 27. This one could go either way, and I don't care. I genuinely will not be watching this game this week. Our next game is the Baltimore Ravens at the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for the Ravens, I don't know what their defense is doing. Their defensive scheme is awful. I think it was well over 200 yards for Jamar Chase last week. You got to double team him. You got to figure it out. There's no way you can let a guy go for over 200 yards on your freaking defense, man. It's awful. I know they were starting to get a little injured, and that wasn't helping them, but the defensive scheme needs to adapt. They need to figure it out. I think Lamar and Henry are the keys to winning for this team. I think they will their teams to wins most weeks. I love what I'm seeing from Lamar. I think he's going to win a third MVP before he even makes a Super Bowl. So take that for what you will, I guess. But I really like what they're doing offensively, as long as this scheme continues to work. And I kind of just need to see more from this team, especially on defense. I just need to see more. And I really don't like what they're doing defensively, which is odd because the Ravens are usually a good defensive team. So hopefully they can figure it out. As for the Steelers, is Russ back? Maybe. He seems very happy. This team seems happy. They seem to rally behind Russ. I hope it continues. I love seeing Russ happy. I wasn't necessarily on board with all the hate that Russ got when he was in Denver. So I do genuinely hope that this continues for this team. I love that they don't give up on the run game. They have two running backs with Najee, and I'm blanking on who their backup is, but they don't give up on the run game. They still get consistent carries. They still try to run the ball, try to clock manage as much as they can. I like what this team does on both sides of the football. I think their defense just needs to lock back in a little bit. They let up 27 points, and I know it was Jaden Daniels and that good Washington Commanders team, but they definitely need to show up this week against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. And I'm leaning the Steelers on this one. I got the Steelers 20, Ravens 17. Ravens could win this game for sure. This is a divisional game, but I'm leaning the Steelers right now. Moving over to our late window games, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Denver Broncos. So for the Falcons, I just don't know what this team does well. They are so hot and cold every single week. Some weeks, Kirk Cousins is slinging it for 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. And some weeks, Bijan Robinson is running for 100 plus yards and, just doing everything this team needs for them to win. But unfortunately, this last week, Kirk threw for 300 yards, but just for nothing, honestly. It was just kind of nothing yards because they didn't score very many points. And Bijan ran for over 100 yards last week, and it was kind of just not doing much for the team to win. Like, they weren't taking advantage of Bijan's runs to score points. So I think this team's offense just needs to figure it out. They need to get on track and be able to score points because it's just way too many empty possessions, in my opinion. As for the Broncos, they should have won last week, man. They should have won. I think regardless of the field goal, you score 0 points in the second half. You had a 4-point lead going into halftime, and then you score 0 points. That is awful. I just don't know what Sean Payton does well offensively. And I don't know. They should have won that game last week, regardless of the field goal. I think they just need to stick to what's working on offense. I think they need to not forget about Javonte Williams. I don't think he's I don't think he's Derrick Henry. I don't think he's Jonathan Taylor or anything like that, but I still think he's really good for this team, and they need to just stick with what's working. Take your checkdowns. If your screens are working, use your screens, quick slant routes. Just figure out what works well for this offense and stick to that path. I really like this defense as well. I think they do a lot of things well. They definitely get after the quarterback, and I like what this team does defensively. They just need to figure it out on offense. I got the Falcons winning this one. I expect the Falcons to get back on track, unfortunately, against the Broncos, because I like this Broncos team. But I got the Falcons 20, Broncos 17. Our next game is my Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. So for the Seahawks, I think their defense needs to play like they did against the Rams every single week. I really like what we did against the Rams. Our defense definitely showed up. I think because we led up the pick 6 and the 6 points in overtime. I think we helped them to 13 points, and I really like that. We were able to stop the run game. I think we just need to see that every single week. I know Coach McDonald, he said that they're trying to simplify things because they're kind of overcomplicating it for some of these players. So hopefully they can do so. I think Geno just needs to relax and take what they give him. There are certain times where, Geno, you need to just check it down to the running back, especially if the running back is wide open, running straight down the middle of the field. Just take your check downs. You don't need to go for the home run every single play. So, and I think this O-line needs to show up, man. Their O-line is awful. I know we've had a lot of injuries for sure, but I think if their O-line shows up, I think this team can get wins, in my opinion. As for the 49ers, Christian McCaffrey is back, but I think he just needs more reps. He hasn't, it's week 11 now, and he's played one game. So they just need to get him more reps so he can get warmer in this offense. I really liked Purdy at times last week. He definitely wasn't making as many mistakes as I've seen him in the past few weeks. And I think a lot of that has to do with Christian McCaffrey coming back. Debo played last week as well. George Kittle is very good for this team. And I don't know, maybe Ricky Pearsall is able to take over that position or the absence of, what's his name? Brandon Ayuk. But I'll be honest, I don't like the secondary of this team very much. I think they let up way too many points, and they just don't stop the catches sometimes. So we'll see. We'll see what this team's got. Also, I'm not sure if DK Metcalf is playing for the Seahawks. I forgot to mention that. So we'll see. I got the Niners in this game regardless. I got the Niners 27, Seahawks 17. I just don't expect the Seahawks to figure it out this year, but I think getting things ready for next year, like getting this offense to play better, get the defensive scheme down. We'll see what we got next year. I like that I'm already giving up on the year. Anyway, our next game is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. This is the game of the week, in my opinion. Everybody's looking at this game, hoping the freaking Bills can beat the damn Chiefs. Damn, I hate the Chiefs, man. All right, so for the Chiefs, I think they just do whatever they need to do to win. I mentioned it earlier. If their offense is bad, their defense is good. If their defense is bad, their offense is good. They figure it out. I think Mahomes needs to lock in. There's just certain passes where I'm like, Mahomes used to make those passes. He just needs to lock in. I know he can do it, and I don't expect him to not do it. I don't think he's a bad quarterback by any stretch of the imagination. So they'll figure it out for sure. I think they just need to get a little bit more out of the run game. They got absolutely stifled last week against the Broncos, so they need to figure out a better way to get this run game involved. As for the Bills, Josh needs to just take care of the football again. He's thrown more picks in the last 3 weeks than he has, or 2 or 3 weeks, excuse me. So he just needs to reel it back in, take care of the football. I think they just need to use Josh in the run game, especially this week. Not overuse him in the run game, but he definitely needs to be running the ball more, not just against the Chiefs either, but like going forward. I think their defense, they got to show up this week. You got to stop Kansas City. You have to, you got to do it. Please, Buffalo. I just can't bet against the Chiefs right now, though. I got the Chiefs 27, Bills 24. I really, really hope I'm wrong on this one. And moving over to Sunday Night Football, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the LA Chargers. So for the Bengals, I think this defense is awful. I'm just not sure what they do well. I think they get after the quarterback well. I will say that. But their secondary is bad. I think their linebackers are bad. I just don't like what this defense is doing. Maybe it's a scheme issue, but from what I'm seeing, I think it's just a lack of effort issue. So it is what it is. I think Joe Burrow, he can only carry you for so long. If he's throwing for 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, he can only carry you so far. This defense has to show up. They have to figure it out. And I don't think the Bengals can afford to lose another game if they want to make the playoffs. Because I'm not sure if 10-7 makes the playoffs, in my opinion. I think Chase Brown, I don't think he's bad. I think he's a serviceable backup, but I just don't think he's the answer for this team. But with Joe Burrow being able to sling it for 400 plus yards, maybe you don't need a run game. As for the Chargers, I think they also need a balanced attack for this offense to be able to play well. I think with their run game with what's his name? I think it's J.K. Dobbins. If J.K. Dobbins is going well, then I think this offense is going to be very, very good because I trust Justin Herbert enough to be able to make plays. So I think their defensive scheme is really good. Apart from the opening drive touchdown and the last touchdown in the fourth quarter, I think this team is super good on defense. And I really like Harbaugh coaching this defense for sure. I just think their wide receivers need to show up, especially for Justin Herbert, and I think they can do it. Do I think they'll do it this week? They definitely could, but I'm leaning the Bengals. I don't know why I keep betting on the Bengals every single week. I just expect them to be able to put it together just because I think I like Joe Burrow probably too much, but I got the Bengals 24, Chargers 23. And our last game of the week is Monday Night Football. We have the Houston Texans at the Dallas Cowboys. So for the Texans, heartbreaking loss last week. That's just not a game that you should be losing, especially if you have Super Bowl aspirations, especially with how good they were last year. I think I don't think CJ's bad. I think he is just in a sophomore slump. So it is what it is. But I think the offensive line sucks for this team. And I think it just makes CJ have to carry even harder, which I just don't think he's able to do quite yet. But I think they need more out of Joe Mixon. That goes back to the O-line, though. If the O-line's playing bad, then Joe Mixon's playing bad. If there's no run game, then CJ's playing bad. So it's kind of just all leading back to each other. So they need to fix the O-line so Joe Mixon can be better, to get that pressure off of CJ, so CJ can be better. And for the Cowboys, so Dak's done for the year. He had that hamstring surgery. He is done, and I think this team is done. I don't think Cooper Rush or Trey Lance are the answer. I think they're both awful, in my opinion, at least from what we saw last week. Playing pretty much, apart from I think it was one or two drives, Cooper Rush played the entire game, and he had 46 yards. And I think they get very, very little from the run game. I don't think this team is good by any stretch of the imagination. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. The only light I see is the one shining into their stadium, into their own players' eyes, which, yeah, kind of sums up the Cowboys this year. I got the Texans in this one. I got the Texans 31, Cowboys 17, and that is my Week 11 NFL predictions. What did you guys think? Did you enjoy my picks? Any that you agreed with, any you disagreed with? Let me know in the comment section down below. I will catch you guys next week for Week 12. Have a great day.